So for me, I have spent technology my whole life, basically, in technology. I think I started out when Excel was literally just come out. I was only a young teenager at the time. My dad was an analyst and I was playing around with it. And yeah, I ended up, before joining GridServe, I was in the city for about 10 years in institutional banking and high throughput transaction systems. And I was approached by one of my friends, Toddington Harper. I've been friends with him for years, and he was constantly trying to poach me from the finance world. And when he approached me in late 2018, early 2019, and explained his idea, I just fell in love with it. I thought it was perfect. It was a long shot, but it was one of those decisions you make where you either regret trying rather than regret not trying. So Toddington has been in renewables for decades, and prior to starting GridServe, he had a solar energy company that was effectively rolling out solar farms with the government-backed EPC projects that they funded until the government stopped funding, and then the industry kind of shrunk a little bit, and some of the players dissolved, and some of the big players stayed. But Toddington saw another vision, and so he sold that business and pumped the proceeds into GridServe with a mission to move the needle on climate change fundamentally through technical enabled disruptive technology. So what does that really mean? So fundamentally, the traditional sense behind transport, for example, is fossil fuel driven. You drill it, you refine it, you transport it, and then you consume it. Similarly, in the renewable industry, the sun is your well, effectively. So you harvest the sun's energy, you store it, refine it in batteries, you transport it through transmission lines, and then you distribute it through charging. GridServe has a few pillars in the business. I've left one out on purpose because that would have been too much for this slide deck. So the pedigree of solar farms, the new innovation of electric vehicle charging, stimulated by many factors, government regulation, car manufacturers committing to the electric revolution. It's very clear that that infrastructure needs to be built out across the UK, and there are many people doing it. We are one of them. And then EV leasing we have on the right-hand side. And in the middle, that's where we build the electric vehicle charging infrastructure, forecourts and hubs, and I'll come on to those shortly. Solar farms. What's so special about our solar farms? They incorporate the latest technologies, bifacial solar panels, tracking units to follow the sun, so you have a more of a square curve when you're looking at the data that's coming in as opposed to a bell. Battery storage on site to provide grid services, high frequency response services, that sort of thing. And yeah, the pedigree of the business means that this was built within 5 months from start to finish, from first spade into the ground to it actually operating on the national grid. Forecourts. This is really our flagship product. It's the brainchild of Toddington, many, many, many years of experience. And it brings together many services. So we have a little bit of solar there to bolster what happens on the site. But really fundamentally, you have 24 really high-powered chargers, which are super quick. You can charge your car in 10, 15 minutes, enough for you to carry on. But it has the retail facility with it. So ground floor retail, partners like Costa, WH Smith, post office. You can go in, grab a bite. And then on the first floor, you've got meeting rooms, a lounge area. There's a giant screen that we put in every single location for events, if you want to hire it for events. And usually where we drop a forecourt, we really reach out to the local community and start driving that education behind electric vehicles and what it means, what the differences are, how easy it is. Additionally, on site, we have battery storage as well. There is usually a very hefty grid connection to this site, bolstered by the battery, so we also provide grid services. So there's a lot going on, really, in these forecourts. This is Norwich, our second forecourt that opened. I thought it was quite a nice picture. I thought I'd add that. Hubs. This is our most popular product. It's the easiest one to deploy, takes the least amount of time, and occupies the least footprint, and you can typically deploy it to most car parks, providing that it's within a building that has a good grid connection. And they're in the formats of 6 and 12. The technology here is really where we stand out a little bit. We're not just buying chargers from companies and dropping them in the ground. We really took the customer experience to heart. It was really important that it was super easy, really slick, well priced, and very easy to use. So we spent around about 6 months prior to doing any of this, analysing the industry, what it's like, what is it like to drive an electric car across the country. And we found that you would end up installing about 12 apps. You probably couldn't use some of the chargers because you'd have to wait to receive an RFID card in the post. But yeah, it wasn't a great experience. And the UK are very much used to contactless payment. So we chose our partners that we could integrate contactless payment into a charger, own the process of the payment solution, connect it up to an ERP system, and really produce a very slick workflow from customer consuming the service to financial accounting taking place downstream. And yeah, we're rolling this out all across the country. This is what it looks like. I'll get onto it later in the slide, but we acquired a network that rolled out in 2011 called Ecotricity, very much ahead of its time. And you can see there's a charger in John O'Groats and a charger in Land's End. It literally is from tip to tip of the UK. I've got some stats here, 171 locations, of which there's 2 forecourts and 16 hubs. And we are aggressively rolling out more forecourts and hubs. 657 chargers in total. This is the sun-to-wheel concept backed up by data. So with our solar farms, we track the sun. We have the latest technologies, and you can see it's not a bell curve that you would expect to see in a traditional solar farm. It's more of a square. So you are capturing usable energy for the longest period of time throughout the day. And you see the usage of our electric vehicle charging network peaks between around 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., just in line with the energy generation that we have. Some major milestones that we've reached in the last 4 years. This really is a journey of start-up to mid-sized company. When I joined in 2018, there was about 16 people in the business, slightly under, with very grand ideas. Absolutely A-game people with a passion and drive to deliver what we had the vision for. So yeah, we've got some key milestones. We've got the York Solar Farm, Hull Solar Farm, Braintree Electric forecourt in the middle of a pandemic, which I wouldn't really advise to do if you can ever plan anything like that. Try not to do that. But it was a success. We managed to really engage virtually as much as we could, and keeping to the safety regulations, we had quite a few meets when the government allowed us to open up. The opportunity that really came our way that we didn't see was the partnering with Ecotricity and the opportunity to purchase the highway. That really did springboard us. And of course, that put a tremendous demand on the business to rapidly grow and rapidly deploy the product that we'd worked so hard to perfect. We completed the refit of the electric highway in 9 months. So that's every single site, every single charger, ripped out the ground, our technology put in, and yeah, what a Herculean effort across the country. We had 5 external companies across the country helping us do that. This is the slide that's gone wrong, unfortunately. It doesn't look very much at all like it's supposed to. It's supposed to depict the growth of the business as per accounts being created in the Active Directory. But yeah, it doesn't look like it should at all. It's effectively, there is an exponential curve which accelerates through the COVID lockdown, which you can't see. But it also demonstrates a very lean IT department. So the scale on the right is the personnel account in IT, which is the yellow line. And on the left-hand side is the scale for the other three coloured lines. One is the cumulative of all of it, and the other two is internal and external parties. So the other key factor here is that we had a lot of external service partners that needed to collaborate with our internal teams and across other external service partners. So we needed to be able to facilitate that in a secure and governed way, and we did. And yes, in the middle of COVID, we opened Braintree Forecourt again. So how did we do it? How did we support this growth? We have a really aggressive timeline. The ambition is clear. We achieved our goals. How? Device management, security, governance, information protection, all critical to business, intellectual property. An infrastructure rollout across the country, multiple external teams, engineers, construction, procurement, deployment, commissioning, all of the activities that are encompassed around that. External platform integration. There are multiple systems that back all of our products. The solar farm has SCADA systems in there, reporting telemetry information all the time with control systems that are monitored by engineers and operations teams. Forecourts are exactly the same, a bit more sophisticated with the high voltage and the battery management systems, but they all needed integrating. The other aspect of GridServe is we've never been B2C. This is the first time we are engaging with the public, consuming products and services that we provide. So that was an unknown. We had no plan for that. We knew what we needed to do, but we didn't know what that was going to look like until we got there and we started to do it. So we needed to be versatile, agile. We needed to move fast. We needed systems that would support that rapid acceleration and integration. And yeah, we chose Microsoft effectively. We made a huge commitment. Microsoft 365 Enterprise Suite brought on-prem, traditional on-prem security, governance, information protection, data loss prevention to the cloud. The Azure stack of services is a huge suite of microservices that you can really leverage to rapidly integrate systems externally, internally. And Dynamics 365 is a combination CRM ERP system. ERP is absolutely perfect. The finance and operations deployment was in phases. Primarily, phase 1, support operations. Phase 2, which we're going through right now, is to really enhance the activities around procurement and deployment, asset management. CRM, we need to engage with our customers across all platforms, all media platforms, whether it's Twitter or Snapchat or WhatsApp, or through our website on live chat. The marketing team needs to be able to deploy their assets and communicate with the customers clearly as well. We don't have retail yet. Our plan is to also deploy retail and completely own that customer engagement piece. So we have a single application that will interact with all of our products and services. While you're on the road, you can buy a Costa and perhaps book a meeting room through a single app. Field services is another quintessential part of the ERP system. As operations and management and maintenance teams are out, field service engineers fixing things that go wrong on the network, they need to be able to very quickly and easily interact with the rest of the business. And then the all-encompassing Power Platform that sits around your productivity apps out of enterprise level 365, but interacts directly into these systems, into the CRM, into the ERP, and into whatever you build in Azure. So the journey was painful. It is a painful journey. If you don't think it's going to be, then it is a reality check. When you are moving at pace as a startup business, you do have the agility to progress rapidly. But as you grow, the agility starts to tail off. More people are involved, more processes, procedures, governance, guiding rails need to really come into play. And if you want to maintain that autonomy of your teams, your strategy needs to be really clear across all teams when you're delivering. So this is our commitment to Microsoft. This is a very high-level dusting of the core services that we consume from Microsoft right now. What's worth saying is during COVID, when COVID hit, we'd already made the initial digital transformation to commit to Microsoft 365 Cloud. And so predominantly people went to the office to use the fast internet connection. We didn't suffer at all through productivity, having committed to Microsoft during COVID. It was the same for us. We've grown more during COVID than any other time of the last 4 years, except perhaps the last 6 months we are under accelerated growth. And we haven't stopped. We're still going. We have taken seriously the commitment to structure and strategy and bringing those guide rails in with Microsoft Viva, OKR goals, and the benefits of the collaboration between the communities that you can create within businesses all through Microsoft Viva. And it links, it integrates very seamlessly into the other productivity apps like Microsoft Teams. It just makes life incredibly easy and agile to be flexible. But we couldn't do this on our own, absolutely not. 18 people could certainly not have delivered the last 4 years on our own. So strategic partnerships are very important. And I'm happy to say we chose the right partners. We had the right partners at every step of the journey. Bosch were with us in the beginning, helping us deploy the first iteration of our Dynamics implementation. They were with us at Go Live. Dutrix have been with us at every step of the journey. They are our Azure architecture owner and CSP. Absolutely phenomenal. The development, the approach to development through Dutrix is gold standard, second to none. And they're still with us now. We've actually increased the number of teams that we have with them whilst we're building out our in-house team. And Hitachi Solutions, of course. They are with us on our second part of the journey with Dynamics. We're really refining it. Now that we have been operating as a business for well over a year with our products out there with our customers, we know more about what we want to do. And so Hitachi are really helping us achieve that, achieve our goals in Dynamics 365. And beyond that, we've shifted to a point where we can now focus on becoming a data-first business. It's the amount of data that we're collecting. We would be remiss if we didn't take that seriously and bring it to the center of the business. So we are prioritizing the acquisition of data, the cleansing of that data, the reliability of that data to garner really quality business insights, but also with a view to start sharing it externally. We'll turn that into a mine for data scientists and such. And yeah, the headlines, we turned 5. We've gone from 18 people to over 250. We have certainly built the first forecourt that we know of globally. There might be someone somewhere that's got one, but we don't know about it. First subsidy-free hybrid solar farm since the government subsidies were pulled. 27x staff. That, if we hadn't been within a platform that could cope with that growth, I'm not entirely sure how we'd have coped. 27 times network growth, the acquisition of the electric highway and the rollout. Yeah, moving at speed. 10 million driving miles, 1.2 million charging sessions, and 127,000 charging sessions every month and increasing. That increases between 5 and 10,000 each month. CPO of the year 2 years running. Highest utilized network. The highest utilized network is the positions of all of those locations are key to the road infrastructure of the UK. So most motorway service stations, we've got our chargers there. And yeah, we've proved that the Sun-to-Wheel model works, because every time you charge at a grid-served charging station, you are 100% guaranteed that that's come from renewable energies. I don't know if I've gone over or under, but I think that's me. So thank you very much. If you have any questions, I'll be hanging around afterwards.